All right, we got a couple things going on. We're live right now. Joey, what's going on, dude? Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Let me see if I can get Daniel in here as well. I'm a little bit
Good.
behind today.
Oh, look at you.
Oh my god, it's batshit crazy this morning. All right, we don't need two of
Wow.
me. Let me see if we can get Daniel on.
Daniel looking good today. Oh,
Dude,
look
look at
at those
that thing, huh?
lasers. How'd that work?
Magic. Whew, holla. Let's see. I gotta make you big
How are you guys
enough.
doing?
Get over the whole thing
All right.
out. Good man. What's shaking?
Jet lag. Trying to
Yeah.
get the jet lag out of me.
Okay.
Just came back from Singapore like a couple of days ago. Still waking up at 4 a.m. No
Oof.
fun. How was for you, Joey, when you were in Japan?
Japan honestly wasn't too bad. I managed to sleep on the way there and back, which is a big saver. I can't seem to do the same thing when I'm going to Europe, though. So,
It's a tough one, right?
um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
Let's see.
last time I went to SF was horrible as well.
yeah, yeah. Japan was, yeah, just cool. It's always so cool. So I want to go back already.
Let me see if I can put this in a place. I've screwed up this fucking banner on the bottom. So Daniel, you're gonna have to be offset. Now, do you want to be Daniel at Hotspot or do you want to be Daniel at DePIN Hub? You've got a podcast to announce. We're now competitors in the DePIN space, which is awesome.
fight.
I am so
Yeah, it's
psyched.
super cool.
We'll hug it out. Hug it out
No, it
eventually.
can be hotspotty.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I talk to everybody. Like, DePIN is such a small ecosystem, but it's like such a broad network. There's so many opportunities. Uh, there's plenty of podcasts. There's so many things, and everybody like help each other, right? I
Yeah.
don't think this should have this. I mean, if it's a competition, it should be a healthy competition because in the end of the day, we can build the best we can, and exciting, and it's so nice to just be able to provide like knowledge and I mean, interview different people, see things on different angles.
Yeah.
I think everybody can bring very interesting things for deeping in general, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'll have
Um,
to add a link to Deepin Hub down in the description. I didn't do it before this, but yeah, we'll make sure that we get that word out there. I think I was talking to my Max, not your Max, the other day. I was like, "Oh my god, these guys are coming out. They're competitors," and Max is like, "Dude, we want that. You know who doesn't like competition is small little fucking." He didn't say this. Small-minded assholes, right? Like the people who
yeah,
are good with competition are like, "Yeah, dude, let's make this better together. You help me level up my game. I'll
exactly.
help you level up yours. This is pretty awesome." So
That's exactly what we think, right? Like I
yeah.
think there's a lot of things that we can help. We've been like you guys, like super in deep in.
Yeah.
Like going to token 2049 like in less like 2 months or 1 month ago. There's so many things happening. The world is big enough. I'm getting a bit closer to Asia, trying to understand the market there as well. I think it's something that's very, very different from the US, for example. There's a lot of interesting opportunities.
Yeah.
Whatever I can do to help maybe focus on that angle as well with Europe. You are also much more focused in the US. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many cool opportunities. So it's very exciting times.
Yeah. We're gonna fucking crush. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Super
man.
cool. Yeah, I'm pumped. We should figure out like ways to make this thing awesome together. Okay, Joey, what's going on with Helium, dude? You got a new microphone setup? Is that something new?
I'm trying to level it up. Is
Ooh,
it any different?
it
Am I
sounds
sounding
great.
better?
Yeah, sounds
Okay.
awesome.
Okay.
Lee,
Yeah.
well, for those of you who don't know, my wife was telling me the other day, she's like, "Hey, I want one of those little dead cat things." She wants exactly what you have. So I guess the thing now, I'm like, she's big on TikTok and Instagram with the paleo treat stuff, is you
I,
hold that thing up to your mouth instead of like a normal microphone is, on a fucking boom, so it just sits there and you can hear it. But I guess all these
yeah.
people want something where you're showing off that you have a fucking microphone. So good job,
Oh,
Joey. You're
yeah.
crushing.
I think if you get up close, you get that like nice bassy radio man voice. But
Hello.
Yeah,
yeah, that.
that's
Yeah.
the one.
I, I'm still a noob here. I'm trying to figure it out, but yeah, I can't do that while I'm talking. But it's nice and small, so I can throw it in a backpack. And I picked
Yeah,
this up because I want to do more of that. As we do more helium events, and Daniel, you're talking about all the events you're doing. I really like this idea of bringing people along for the ride a little bit and just like tucking off into a corner and being like, all right, I just had this cool conversation. Here's kind of what's going on.
yep,
Um, so this thing,
awesome.
That's beautiful.
yep,
Can you
got a
put
little
your
phone
phone
mount.
underneath?
Little
So
Yeah.
Redicam thing.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yep. So
And I'll tell you this: I spent a boatload of money on video and audio for the Helium and Wild tour, like prepping for that last year on like super high end video stuff, and I ended up realizing that you can shoot all the video that you need on iPhone. Like if you want fancy stuff, fine, spend a ton of money. But the only thing that's important once you have a phone is audio. Just get like separate audio, which you're nailing. And if you've got that, then you can use your phone, and the audio stuff that's where.
Yeah. For the longest time, I was using like just the iPhone like headset and stuff, and then every time I look at the state of the network after, like, oh my god, my audio is so bad that I went and I bought this.
Yeah,
Lee, we'll get you a fuzzy.
Yeah, we'll get a fuzzy out there, Lee. That's funny. Cool. Let's see. Scott, good to see you. Keenan with Shake and Rock. Good to see everybody here today. Super cool to check in and see what's going on. So let's see. Did we hit the helium stuff? Joey, I just got off this hour and a half phone call and fucking dropped the ball totally.
all good. I mean, in your court, HIP 96 was approved. I think that was yesterday, right?
Max told me, he's like, hey, you now are an author of an approved HIP. So hell yeah.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, big deal.
Yep. Yeah, and on that topic, I got my Wi-Fi hotspot yesterday and set that up.
Did you get your Pi?
And I did not.
I got fucking robbed.
Yeah, I know. I didn't use the coupon, but
fair.
No,
fair.
Excited to have it. I bought two, and one of them now is set up at Motivate Coffee Roasters in downtown Oakland.
Oh, cool.
So if you're in the area, you can swing through and test out off-ramp or offloading your data while you have a nice espresso or affogato, hanging out in the beautiful downtown Oakland, California.
Netflix.
Yep. Pay me for all of your data while you are
exactly.
Walk me through this, because I haven't paid attention, and Max is going to kill me for even saying that I'm this ignorant, but I'm fine with my ignorance being continually stunning. What's the difference between the thing that you have, Joey, and the Bobcat 500 or whatever that I've got at Paleo Treats? Those are, I think, different.
It's a protocol. It's a frequency and protocol difference. So the thing you've got, the Bobcat, that's running a CBRS radio, and that's only works in the United States with the licensing that's available.
Okay.
And then this new Helium mobile hotspot uses Wi-Fi frequencies.
Cool.
And it is a Wi-Fi access point with a sort of Daniel moves.
Leveling up.
But yeah, it's configured in sort of a special way where it's effectively an invisible, ubiquitous Wi-Fi connection. So your phone, if you're a Helium mobile subscriber, is going to get all of those SSIDs loaded onto it, and when you're in range, it's just going to straight use it. You don't even have to ask for passwords or anything like that. So it's pretty cool. It's new territory for me. So I was walked around the block yesterday, poking around the internet, and it was pretty seamless.
It's working. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. Someone's going to read the HIP that I wrote, that Max wrote that HIP, and then he was like, dude, I just don't do GitHub enough. Can you do it? I was like, I don't do GitHub either, but fuck it, I'll figure it out. So,
yeah. We all know ChatGPT wrote that HIP anyway. So.
Yeah. I don't know the secrets, Max. I'll tell you this, though. In ChatGPT land, so when it first came out, we're all excited. I used it to write 6 blog posts for the Meteo Scientific site, just fucking around on 6 different micro-meteorological conditions. And I was like, that's kind of cool, but I like writing. I don't think this thing is that useful for me. For some poor sucker who can't write, yeah, it's going to be super useful, but I consider myself pretty good at that stuff. I don't think ChatGPT is that great. And then I discovered it for writing code. Now, the code I'm writing with this thing is probably fucking terrible, but this is so fucking awesome. There is shit that I can do on ChatGPT where I'm like, hey, I want, and I'm on Wingbits. So Wingbits is this ADSB thing. It uses a lot of the same thing as Helium, or a lot of the same skills that we learned at Helium with radio, antennas, cable loss, all that crap, filters, LNAs, blah, blah, blah. But it's still kind of a new project, and there are tools that are not there yet. And so I went to ChatGPT and I'm like, hey, dude, here's I'm going to give you a list of all the files that come with this one directory, this tar 1090 or this graphs 1090 directory. Can you help me write code that tells me this thing, how many planes are in the air, what's their signal strength or whatever? It's stuff that I didn't see that Wingbits had, but it was stuff I wanted to know. Mm-hmm. And that fucking program walked me through it, and that shit works. It's fucking crazy. I'm so psyched on it.
It's great. I feel your joy. It's all of those things where you're like, you just feel trapped because you're like, oh, this
Yeah,
is going to be too hard. It's going
yeah,
to take forever.
yeah.
Like I was working with a Helium roaming user, and they're trying to figure out like, how do I get all the hotspots in a specific geo thing? And I was just like, I know the pieces of that.
Yeah.
It's going to take me a while to like pull it together. But I was like, wait, I'll PM it to ChatGPT, just like write the whole spec, and boom, like there's a query
Yeah.
that gives me all of the gateways in a particular like geopolygon, like in
Yeah, exactly. I
20
mean,
minutes.
you're saying in the chat like Laura won the coders. Like that's insane. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I did that. Yeah, I think yesterday as well. Like my Max is on. It's on holiday this week.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do like a little proof of concept for a little thing. I wrote the backend, I wrote the database, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the front end. I know that Max uses React with TypeScript.
Okay.
How do I do that? And I just
Yeah.
like, I know what it needs to be done. I know what kind of API needs to access. And then I threw in ChatGPT. It's like, okay, you run npm install this. You're like pretty much like, okay, now it's like out of my comfort zone, and I am
Yeah.
doing it. It's exciting.
Fucking bananas, man. It's such a, I don't know. It's like all this Silicon Valley bullshit terminology, but it is a fucking unlock, right? Like if you can,
Yeah.
so the only limitation, not the only, the big limitation right now is being able to clearly describe your problem. And if you can do that and then figure out like what ChatGPT needs in order to help you solve it, like, oh, it needs a list of the directories or it needs the contents of this file. Fuck, like it's,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know
it
Python. I don't
rewards-
even know what the thing's fucking writing. I just copy and paste it in, and it's like, oh yeah, here's your signal strength. Here's your planes that you saw in the last 5 minutes. Here's what you need to do to change it. It's crazy.
Yeah,
And if
it
you only can
rewards
learn,
good
right?
communication, right? Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
Daniel.
yeah. I mean, we all becoming like what do you call prompt engineers?
Yeah, yeah. So
But yeah, it's exactly. I think I've learned that is you have to talk very clear and it kind of like use like common language to do it
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
If you try to do too robotic or something, it's not gonna really work.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely huge leap of like improvement for everybody, right? Saving
Yeah.
time and much more.
And I'll also say this, I think this is just a general like public announcement thing, is I'm always polite when I use ChatGPT because I'm pretty fucking sure at some point
They're
that
gonna
goddamn
remember.
thing
Yeah.
is going to be way more powerful than me. And if I just behave like a decent fucking human being, maybe I'll get killed not as quickly.
Yep, always
Yeah.
say thank you. Always be like, wow, that looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
I
job. Yeah.
In general, I mean, it's just general. It's generally good to be nice and a polite person. So that's cool.
Yeah. No,
I've got
it's
some
awesome.
like admin announcements for the GK stuff. So we went back to Gristleking for State of the Networks. It's not on DePIN State. DePIN State is going to be focused on specifically just on founders and folks coming on to talk about that stuff. So in this kind of Gristleking empire, you can now support it with a donation, either one time or a monthly, or like a subscription to it. And you can find that stuff down in the description here on YouTube. I tried to gate the Gristleking blog at one point. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I got a ton of, not a ton, I got enough hate mail that I was like, oh, that's not the right thing to do. So I wanted to make it easy for people like, hey, if you like the stuff that we're doing here, whether it's State of the Network or whether it's the Gristleking Discord where people on there getting a ton of help on Wingbits, or it's Gristleking blog, like, fine, here's a way that you can help out. And I think that's a pretty cool way to do it. I'm also seeing,
Yeah.
go ahead.
And make sure to also accept tokens.
Yeah, I gotta get my shit together. So I'm trying to do everything super simple with Stripe. I had for a while like the website is a WordPress site, and it just got more and more complex, and membership this and this plugin and that thing, and it bogged down so much that I started getting pissed how slow it was. And so I just said, fuck it, I'm just gonna do this thing with like a bare bones WordPress site and Stripe, and that integration. I listened to this founders podcast with the Stripe brothers who are Irish. And I was like, dude, they're trying to help people like me. I'm going to use them. So,
I gotta
Yeah,
hook you
Stripe
up with the Sphere team.
oh yeah,
You
we
can
could totally
do
do that.
all the normal payment rails plus all the crypto payment rails.
Yeah, that'd be rad. I'll put it all in there.
Yeah.
And then Kevin, who's on here, I think he's K. There's like a crazy E in there, the Ethereum E. Helped me with some of the product images. So if you see the product images on those and you think they're cool, that's Kevin's work. That's Flywheel Systems. So super cool stuff
Nice.
there.
How Joey? How do you compare Sphere with like Helio? I don't know if you tried Helio before.
I know Helios. I don't know Helio.
Helio is the payment gateway as well on Solana. right? I think that's kind of very interesting as well. We use Stripe on Hotspotty because we just wanted to do something quick and use credit card, etc. Like you're saying, Nick.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think there are a lot of interesting alternatives as well now because people want to maybe pay in crypto, maybe pay in credit card, whatever. Um, it's the next step until of course Stripe start doing that. But Stripe fees are quite high if you're trying to run a business out of that. But I think out of donation stuff should be okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys talk about Breakpoint already last week? Probably.
I think we did. But if you got what'd you see, dude? Or did you not go there?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. Yeah, exactly. Because I think Joey wasn't there. You guys weren't there. I saw Keenan there wearing like super nice Helium sneakers. I saw some picture that was pretty dope.
Oh, the feet. Keenan's feet come back, huh?
Exactly. Super fan.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Like Helium was all over the place, right? There was like a lot of talks from everyone. We had a really interesting DePIN event, like organized by the guys from Unokoi. Yeah. And we went to like a lot of DePIN people from all over the place. Went there, just grabbed some beers.
Yep.
The weather was not amazing, as people could expect. Like, why Amsterdam in like November? But I think they corrected that for next year. It's going to be in Singapore. So you guys better come because it's going to be so freaking fun if you guys are there as well. Just drinking and having like noodles and dumplings around the city. And also it's going to be around Token 2049, I think, which is like a really, really big crypto conference. So everything's going to be at the same time. So make sure to plan next year for that. It was really cool. It was much smaller, I would say, than the Breakpoint in Lisbon that you guys came last year.
Yep.
I guess like bear market Breakpoint a little bit, but it was nice. It's still really cool to see a lot of people building a lot of really interesting like DePIN projects, right? There was like io.net. They're doing like decentralized GPU computing for AI. There was a lot of cool things. I think every time going to a conference is super cool and interesting. Was totally worth it. Maybe not for you guys because we're so far. I mean, I'm like a couple hours flight from there, right? So
it's like me flying to San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But make sure that next year, Breakpoint Singapore, put in your calendar because that's going to be an epic one.
Daniel, I'm curious. io.net is like exploded out of nowhere. Like they sort of announced at Breakpoint, they're already doing this integration with Render. They did a payment rails thing with Sphere. Like, did you get a sense for kind of like what the project is doing and a little bit of understanding how it works?
Yeah, exactly. I talked to them after the presentation as well. I mean, there was a big event, right? That Render officially moved from Ethereum to Solana, and Render is like a pretty old project that I see a lot of people buying tokens, but to be honest, never saw a lot of like results from that. Hopefully, it's gonna get a little bit better now on Solana. But that was a big announcement. And then IONET said that they are working also with Render to provide like GPUs. The different I've been talking to like a lot of GPU projects actually. One thing of the io.net is that they are very focused on server grade, like data center grade servers. Like it's not like, oh, I have like this like 4060 in my computer to play games, but when I'm not, I can just let it running for like processing AI stuff. They really want those GPUs that cost like 40-50K. They're placed in like a data center, H100s, 200, etc. Like the big expensive ones, and that's the one that they want to work. So they follow more or less I would say Filecoin angle, which you also need to have like a pretty decent data center to do it, versus, for example, storage that we can just have like a little Raspberry Pi with like a hard drive attached to it. But they have a really nice keynote. You should check it out. It was very, very interesting.
Huh.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to convince Lee to put a $40,000 GPU in the closet here, but I'll try.
Why not?
It'll keep you warm.
The problem, you cannot even play video game with that. That's something that's very sad.
But you could run your own open chat GPT models. So out of your own closet.
Yeah. My closet's already pretty full with Shit, I mean between the hotspots and the wing bits and the WeatherX, like I guess WeatherXM is on Wi-Fi. I got the BirdNet. Like there's so many wires coming out of that router that it's already pretty hot in there.
That's
So
good.
yeah, it's super fun. I'm thankful. It's nice, Daniel, that you're here. I always think of you as like a good entry point for me into helium, and I think of how far I came from kind of watching you on video through whatever I went 3 years ago to here we are, figuring this stuff out. So pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's exciting. DePIN is it's just starting. You see a lot of things. Uh, there's a lot of projects that are like location dependent, but there's a lot of one that's location independent, like servers and stuff like that as well, right?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there's all sort of things. There's like Wi-Fi map, for example. They reward you to enter like Wi-Fi passwords. I had a call with them today, and it was really interesting
Yeah,
what
that's
they're
Dennis,
building.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Those guys are hustlers.
Like I went to take my car to get service in the boonies here in Portugal, like an hour away from Lisbon,
Uh-huh.
and I went to this little coffee shop to work while they're doing stuff in the car. And I was like, I'm gonna ask this person for the password of the Wi-Fi. But like, oh wait, I can just check a Wi-Fi map. And I was like, this tiny coffee shop in the middle of nowhere. There was the password for their Wi-Fi. I was like, damn, they're doing
It's cool.
something right there. Yeah, it's super
They've been
exciting.
building that for years too. I think that project's been around like 10 years or something, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
they're not new to this thing.
Uh, but I'm sure that
Yeah.
after they use the DP method, their like user base grow and then incentivize, right? Even if people make like $1 here and there, like 15 cents, that's already something, some gamification that gives you something interesting.
Yeah. No, it's cool to get all that stuff aggregated and keep people pushing to keep it up to date.
Yeah. And I mean it's cool to see that entering into the deep in space. I think this is back to the thing with Daniel coming with Deep in Hub is that I mean I think we've seen the market now turn around. It's not like this, we're not on the big downhill. We're not going super fast. There's nothing like crazy. You're not buying your house with your earnings from a helium miner for a day. Yeah, Joey, you just cover your ears. But I think we're seeing the market turn around. I mean, we saw Wingbits, which is a tiny little company, got in, and I have nothing to do with them officially yet. I'm trying to get them to hire us, but they may or may not. We saw those guys get investment from Antler, which I think is like some, I don't know, fucking incubator thing. But we're seeing these projects where investors are seeing, okay, this thing is real. Market may or may not be turning. It looks like it's at least not getting much worse. We're going to start to feed some money into it. And I think we're going to see this batshit crazy thing cycle start up again pretty soon.
Hopefully,
So
I need to buy my hardware as well because I love that project. I
super
remember
fun.
when I used to work for Balena, actually Chris, which is like a co-CEO now, he joined me as a hardware hacker at the time, and he built actually one of those like the plane sensors
Yep.
to run on Balena. That was
Yep.
back in 2018, I think, late 2018, so it's quite some time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's been around a while. I just don't think it's been on a deep end thing. And the I think it's two guys running it right now. Seem like they're pretty knowledgeable with it. I think I got a call with them. They like I send people on my Calendly to book calls, and they booked the call on Thursday, which here in America is Thanksgiving. Like, it's a big holiday. I don't give a fuck about it. So like hell yeah, I'll take a call on Thanksgiving. But it was a funny thing.
Yeah, I forgot tomorrow is a big day exactly. Here in Portugal, all my like American friends, I think they're doing some turkey or little turkey because we don't have like the what do you call it, the round ball butter balls. We don't
Butterball.
have the butter balls here.
Yeah, yeah. You got to get to America, dog. We do the big food. Let's see. All right, Siegfried. What's TLDR and Wi-Fi map? Is you put the app on your phone every time you log into whatever Starbucks or whatever. You add the credentials to it. It shares those credentials anywhere you want. So just like Daniel, if you go to some coffee shop somewhere in the middle of nowhere, you're like, oh, I'll just log on. And they're doing a bunch of other like fun stuff with tokens, um,
I, I
incentivization. Go
think
ahead, Joey.
they'll sell you like an eSIM that pre-logs you into some of those networks. Is that right?
Oh, cool.
Or
I don't
Yeah,
I
remember
could be
that.
wrong on that.
Yeah.
because like they don't make any money from like the passwords that they have, right? People go to the place, you can enter the Wi-Fi password. You can do like a speed test as well. That's another information that's valid on the phone. One thing that you buy, um, you like say I'm going to travel to, I don't know, Tokyo or whatever. I can download the map of Japan, and then I pay a little bit for that, so
That's right.
that when I am actually without a SIM card, I already know the locations of the Wi-Fi and passwords that I can use. because that's a problem, right? If you are somewhere that you don't have any way to connect that information, we won't be able to even download the password to use. And yeah, they sell SIM cards. I've been using a lot like eSIMs when I travel.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully next time I go to the US, I get some like Helium Mobile on my phone,
Yeah,
because it was always like going to the plane, I'm already like installing the eSIM from the country I'm going to, and it's been super super easy. I never need to get like SIM cards anymore.
that's right. And I know a while ago, a year ago, the Giant protocol was doing something like that and trying to make it super easy. I had some bumps in the road with that, and I just went to whatever is local in Europe, Orange or something, and that worked flawlessly. It had nothing to do with crypto, but it's like, that's why it works.
Not as fun.
Yeah, not as fun for sure. Let's see. Okay, so I've got a couple other things to hit. Yesterday I did the Gristle Crew call. That's a weekly private membership I do. I'm kicking this idea around of doing affiliates for it. So you'd sell some portion of it, you get a commission from that. I think that's a cool idea. I also think maybe that's kind of not a cool idea. So I'm trying to figure out if people will go for that or not, if they find it useful or not. But it's I'm going to use a little bit the template that we talked about in the crew call yesterday, just to give an idea of kind of things to talk about. We did hit the Sourceful thing. Have you guys seen that? SRCFUL. It's a virtual power plant.
Yeah, I talked. Yep. I spent a lot of time talking to what is the name again? It's with Frederick. Okay. I have his card here, by the way.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I was right on my desk. It's very interesting, right? Like they're very early. They're very very early. They're like 4 people, I think. Yep. And then just got some funding, so that was super exciting.
Yep. Yeah. These guys here. So we talked a little bit about that. That looks pretty cool. I think these VPPs are interesting, and these we'll definitely refine our language around DePIN being location dependent, location independent, being something that I think of as DePIN, as a DePIN purist, versus not DePIN.
DePIN maxi, yes.
Yeah, a DePIN maxi, like a physical maxi or something like that. So that's funny. I saw, let's see, the BitHarvest multi-mining guys. I've talked to them. Those guys are kind of starting to come out and be a little bit more public, but they've got a multi-mining setup that seems pretty cool, just from like a technology standpoint, where you can load a bunch of different projects on there. On my side, what do they say? I don't guarantee that any of those projects are good. I think some of them are total fucking garbage, but I think it's cool that to Neil's point when he used to come on here, and I think Neil, you're on here. You're welcome to come back on. Link is the same. Love to see you. We all have these Raspberry Pis. Let's do more than just mine helium with them or provide just a LoRa thing. You can put a bunch of different things on a Raspberry Pi, and the BitHarvest guys are doing just that. So,
yeah, I mean, especially now that the miner of helium is super super light. Yep. Everyone that has like for example, Raspberry a rack, for example, has your device is super overpowered for what you need nowadays. So you can most just plug
Those
it.
Gold Spots had like 8 gigs of RAM, right?
Yeah, well, that got you extra tokens, right? This is well known.
Yeah, one of these things here.
Ooh, look at that.
There you go.
Let's see.
Yeah,
I
will.
Gold.
I am a fan of like sort of open access to the hardware and all of that, but I have to just like be careful because
temper your enthusiasm.
Yeah. Yeah, I won't go into it too deep, but yeah, just be careful with that stuff.
Yeah, there's some fuckery going on there. So it's like everything else, just be careful. Hey, did I turn this thing on? Yeah. Daniel, you talk to the Peak guys at all? I know you're more focused on I mean, you fucking live in Europe, so you should be talking to those guys. I saw that, who was it just announced they're going to be on Peak? Mapmetrics.
Mapmetrics, Netix. Mapmetrics, I met with the guys in Amsterdam. Really, really nice dudes.
Yeah, it's Brent, and I think at least one other guy. But yeah, they were excited last time I talked to them. They came on the Gristle Crew a while ago, and the guy was super fired up about some marketing thing they were going to do.
Yeah, no, Peak's interesting. We're gonna go for dinner in 2 hours.
Oh, so, cool! Give Max a high five.
Exactly,
the third Max. How many fucking Maxes do we have here?
So I think the whole team, most of them are moving to Lisbon as well.
Cool.
And they're staying by my very close from my house. So we're gonna grab some dinner and just nerd out on DePIN a little bit later.
Is Hotspotty going on
Yeah.
peak? Everybody's going on peak. Like, is Gristleking going on peak? Fuck, let's just put it on
Yeah,
peak.
we make a bridge for Solana and to peak. So helium's gonna go through peak from now on.
As well
Um,
known. Um,
yeah.
oh yeah, Cliff. We'll talk about the CBRS radio auction because that was super fun earlier this week. I will say the thing that I'm seeing is that it seems to me that IoTeX is taking kind of the Asia market, which I think is enormous, and they're going to be the DePIN chain of choice for those guys. And maybe I'm getting this wrong, and that Peak is going to be the DePIN chain of choice for the European-based projects. That's kind of what I'm seeing. That may not be like PC to say it that way, but that's what I'm seeing. Are you guys seeing anything different, or you disagree with that, or am I missing something?
Yeah. So basically, the information that has been presented to me. I'm just kidding. Like after talking to a lot of people in Asia, actually, there's of course the idea. I don't know. Like it's very hard to make sure those things are the way we think, right? But I mean, also blockchain runs everywhere in the world. But for example, PIC, they're based in Europe, and they're actually working with a lot of European-based projects like Natix, Mapmetrics, TubeBlocks, etc.
Yep.
IoTeX, even though they are like a lot of people they speak Chinese in their team, but they are based in the Bay Area.
Silicon Valley.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to be focused a lot of the IoT like DePIN ecosystem in the US as well.
Yeah.
And I know that, for example, Arcrain and then Hashkey Capital and then some other big people and big projects, they are thinking about building some sort of layer 2 or layer 1, layer 2, they don't know yet, for Asia, right?
Okay.
I think that's, it's really hard to, I mean, it's hard to know because it just depends on how people join. But for example, a lot of DePIN projects, they join a blockchain just because of the incentives. A lot of times the incentives that they have to join that blockchain. At the end of the day, blockchain should be the same almost, right? Of course, like Solana is super fast, it's very cheap. You don't, depending on what you do, there's ways to build projects in Ethereum that's going to be cheap, but in general, it's not like a very advisable, even though most of the DePIN projects are still on Ethereum. And then second on Polygon. But basically, like at the end of the day, the blockchain should be just the infrastructure level, right? Like you shouldn't be thinking about which protocol. I don't care necessarily if this project is built on Solana, it's built on IoTeX, it's built on Ethereum, as long as it does what they want it to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think we're still early in crypto. That thing is a talk that still happens a lot. But the idea that we want to get is that, like, you don't care if the website is hosted on DigitalOcean or AWS or Google, right? You just want to access the website. So it's basically that's that we want to do. I mean, maybe you do have more strong.
I mean, I don't know. I've drank the Kool-Aid of Solana, so I mean, like some of the things you really need there is like cheap transactions, right? Like the Helium network interfaces with Solana quite frequently. You know, every time you send 10 cents worth of data through your OUI, that gets recorded on chain.
Yep.
And
No,
that
I
only works
absolutely
because
agree
the
with you.
transaction cost is a lot less than 10 cents.
Opos, yeah.
Yeah.
You know the term Opos, right?
Yeah, only possible.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Solana. Yeah. So
Like,
I think here, like the observation, I should be careful in how I'm couching it, is that I think the peak stuff happens in Europe just because of the physical closeness, and Max and the peak crew are talking to, you know, Mapmetrics or to Silencio because they're in the next, you know, in Europe, the next country is like our next county. But it's like super, you'll see them for dinner, where the same thing is happening on the IoTech side, and those guys spend a lot of time in Asia, and so they're meeting the Asian DePINs as well as the US DePINs, and so I don't think it's for kind of nationalistic reasons. I just think it's like a physical closeness. You have more dinners with people, they're more likely to do business with people. That's just
yeah,
how the world works.
exactly.
I mean, and are Peak and like IoTeX doing the exact same thing, or are there differences there? It's like I've been trying to scrape together a better understanding of what IoTeX does, and from my sort of takeaway is like they allow you to do sort of more complex compute beyond what like a smart contract would do, and it's almost like the Lambda function for blockchain.
Yeah, that's a web stream, right?
Yeah, and so like the IoT stuff is like secondary to that, right? Like you can do IoT stuff with that, but you also do really anything with something like that. So they aren't sort of distinctly an IoT or DePIN project.
Right.
It's infrastructure that enables sort of some of this like other stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know if like
Yeah, I know.
like it's really hard to fish this stuff out from some of these marketing pages, but
I'll see if we can
Yeah.
get Max and Roland to come on and just be like, hey, tell me what your fucking thing does.
oh
No,
yeah,
Something
exactly. I
different.
mean, that's true. Uh, no, I completely agree with what you're saying. Yeah, I do think that the proximity makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
Like let's say right now, I also drink the Solana Kool-Aid. I'm wearing my teleport hat here.
Oh, cool.
Um, really, really good to like talk on
There it
Breakpoint
is.
if you guys want to check. Yeah, exactly. Um, but with that being said, right now, of course, there's more like talk about what blockchain should I use. But the idea is in the future, that shouldn't matter, right? Like nobody
Right.
cares if it's Solana, if it's Polygon, as long as it works and it's cheap and it's fast. So I think we're gonna get to a point that the blockchain is gonna be like, I mean, I don't know, maybe in the US, like 30 years ago, if you have AOL versus, I don't know, yeah, I don't think Yahoo was there yet, right? There was a big difference for your internet, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, you don't care about this stuff.
No, no.
So
The only thing I
we
know is
we
like when I see a Yahoo address, it's like, oh, you're fucking old.
AOL, yes.
Yeah. AOL is like,
So
oh, that's the granddaddy for sure.
so that's basically what I'm trying to say is that like we should strive to be blockchain agnostic, right? Like
Yeah.
in the end, I don't care which blockchain this thing is working as long as it's cheap, fast, and secure.
yeah.
Um,
I think
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
of the
so
sort of short-sighted things that we're seeing is like it, this is the Silicon Valley of like that skit where it's like, oh, we're gonna do Uber for China, we're gonna do Postmates for China. Like you see a lot of that in the blockchain space right now, where it's like we're gonna do the Helium but on Polygon, or we're gonna do the X, but and it's like,
Yeah.
sure, you can steal a little bit of the market segment from like that the cohort of super fans of that blockchain, but it's like a short-sighted approach because you're not doing anything
innovating.
to like move that space
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not doing new shit for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna do Netflix, but on Google Cloud instead of like Amazon.
Right. Yeah. It's like customer doesn't care. The thing needs to work. Like
Yeah.
that's what actually
Exactly.
matters.
Did,
I think that's the message, right?
yeah. 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 Totally. Did you guys see this auction, the CalChip auction?
Oh yeah.
I think that's what he's talking about.
I'm assuming that's probably it. I tried to pick up some dev kits, and
Daniel, this was
I got
so
outbid.
fucking exciting. So,
When was
CalChip,
it?
like Tuesday or something, was
Was
when
like
the auction ended. And there was a bunch of different auctions throughout the day. And there were like pallets of hotspots. There were pallets of dev kits. There were pallets of mini gateways, like tons and tons of shit. And all of it started, like, I'm such a sucker for this. It all started $100. And so it gets, and it would list the value. So it's like, hey, these 100 dev kits are a value of 40,000. The bidding starts at $100. And so we had been looking at them in one of the private parts of the Gristleking server and saying like, oh guys, let's like all band together and like buy these. I don't know. There's like, I forget how many there were, but it's like 640 whatever tabs, or pick your whatever the fucking technology is, for $100. We're like, we think the bidding is going to go up to like 800 and we'll get it. And so we're all fired up. And Tuesday comes and everyone's like, okay, I'll put in, like, I'll send it here. You go here. Like, Gray Hat's going to go pick it up at the warehouse because you have to pick it up that day. Like, it gets super,
Wow.
super exciting. And that morning was when I decided to tell Lee about it. I'm like, hey, Lee, I'm going to go ahead and front the money on this. I think it's going to be like $1,800 and we're going to go to the East Coast and get a pallet of these hotspots. She's like, absolutely not. And so I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna bid anyway. Like, if I get this thing, it's gonna be such a good deal. I'm going for it. So I got the guys in the Discord server like, dude, I'll take 10 of these. You take 7 of these. Like, I'll go pick it up. I'll store it at my house. Like, I'm like, I'm gonna buy a fucking U-Haul, rent a U-Haul, and drive it across America. Like, it was this batshit crazy section for like 3 hours on Tuesday. And then the whole thing went to like, I think the stuff that we wanted, Joey, we thought we were gonna get for like $1,800, sold for 12,000. It was just like so far beyond what I was willing to do, but super exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess my understanding is like I think they kind of knew like this site kind of sells that is like, yeah, you're probably going to end up selling these things at retail anyway.
Yeah.
And so they all of those listings had reserves on them. So I think it
Yeah.
was kind of a testing the water thing. But yeah, it sure was exciting when it was going on. And I saw Siegfried threw a comment in there, like Foundation picking those up. Yeah, that was exactly the goal from my end, to be able to like send out dev kits. We used to do that a lot. And we haven't been doing it as much lately. Travis ran that whole segment for us
because he helped build it. He helped design those things. If I'm remembering that right.
Yeah, he was picking kit and doing all the back and forth with the rack on that. But yeah, ultimately, I think what the unit price ended up being like $30-$35 per kit or something thereabouts. I can't remember. It was probably a lot more. But from like an impact point of view on my end, like I can enable a developer for a $15-$20 Heltec dev kit. And I've already got those. Awesome. So it's kind of that's the trade-off there.
God, it's so fucking exciting.
What is 𝐒𝐩𝐨𝐬𝐸 going to do now? Just sell boats?
Well, so I think they're going to keep doing stuff. Like they just saw they had like high stock and a bunch of things. And it wasn't just helium stuff. It was like also all their AWS stuff and like a bunch of switches and kind of random things like that. So yeah, I think they'll still be around. But
I was betting on shit. I'm like, hey guys, what's this thing?
Yeah.
There's so many of them. It seems cheap. What the fuck am I buying?
We'll find out afterward what I've just bought. Yeah. 800 antennas.
Yeah. I think the antenna is the only thing I don't need more of.
I have so many antennas here as well. I think everybody has pair antennas.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I was wearing my People shirt earlier.
I forgot about Max and his antennas.
Yeah, this is. I'll pull it up. I put my Gold Hawk shirt on for
infamous.
Yeah, Max did such a. Let's see, there it is.
There it is.
And then we put this thing on the back. This big old fucking. So this is like the shrimp boat idea. I think we've talked about that before.
Yep.
This was from the Helium House in Austin, wasn't it? No, it was in New York.
I don't know. I think Max sent that to me. Like, this is before we were working together. I think we just met, and he's like, "Oh, I got an extra shirt. Let me send it to you." And it was right when 5G came out, so everyone was super excited about it.
Yeah, because it was on. I remember in Austin, right? He has like his whole like table full of antennas. It was crazy.
Yeah. He's still got antennas and cable in a warehouse somewhere. So it's funny because people are like, that fucking guy sold this and that and the other. Like, yeah. I think he got bit just like everyone else. Actually, I'm pretty sure he got bit just like everyone else. But that's business, right? You can make all kinds of mistakes. I got 2 boxes full of these fucking Climax T-shirts. That was a project that I tried to do that didn't go anywhere. It's like that's just how it goes.
Nice.
So
yeah. Oh man, I missed that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, it sounds a lot of fun. I think I was probably asleep.
You might have been asleep. No, it's like, normally there's, 20 messages an hour or something. And there's like 600 messages just, everyone's egging everyone else on. And at first it was like, hey, who's bidding on lot like 17A Bravo? And then finally we realized like, fuck, we're all bidding against each other. Like maybe we just calm down. We figure out what our high bid's going to be. And then we put our money together and figure that out. But still didn't work. So yeah, funny stuff. Let's see, what else have I got? I saw that, Demo and Nadix are doing a collab where Demo users get 20,000 Nadix for signing up or putting that stuff on. Have you guys seen that?
I saw just the announcement. I didn't really follow up too much.
Cool.
Yeah, do you know much about the Nadix partner network there? Obviously I know Demo, but yeah.
I know that Nadix is on peak as well.
Yeah. The Nadix guy, Ali Reza, is super sharp. That's let's see. You use your phone, and I think what I'm seeing most people are doing is they buy a spare phone. I think we've all got like extra old phones hanging around that are still, the old phones from 4 years ago could still fucking launch a rocket to the moon. So it's not like they're worthless. And you take the phone, you set it up in your car in a little mount, and it does the same kind of thing that HiveMapper does. Except where HiveMapper transmits images back, Nadix transmits just the information. So it'll say, hey, I saw a stop sign that's at this GPS coordinate. It's facing this way. This light is there. The right lane emerges right or whatever the fuck it is. So it's not sending the images back, just the information. So
got it. Yeah. So they're doing the training on the edge or the
AI magic shit on the edge. Yep. for sure.
That's
I
interesting.
think it's a great idea. Yeah, I think it's amazing. Most phones, I think, should be fairly okay to do that, right? And most phones also have good cameras,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it makes complete sense.
No, and I think it's funny because every time you bring it up, there's always someone that comes on and's like, oh, you can't do that or this doesn't work. And I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about most of the time. Like if they couldn't do it, it wouldn't be done. Like they think they can do it. And all of the DePIN founders I've met so far, I'd say almost without exception, there's some batshit crazy people out there who I fucking love, but that doesn't make them less batshit crazy. Like they're all smarter than the average person I meet. Right? If I go walking around my neighborhood, nothing against Normal Heights, I love this place, but it's filled with pretty, like regular people, and I stacked them up against DePIN founders. The DePIN founders are usually just they got a little bit more. Normal Heights is going to kill me for this. They got a little more intellectual horsepower, right? And I think they're just fucking nerds. Like there's more engineers, more people who spend more time in school, and Normal Heights is more of like an. I'm getting myself deeper and deeper in it. But in any event, like they're not fucking.
It's a great
dumb
neighborhood,
people.
man.
Yeah, I fucking love this place. I'm not moving. In general, like they're smart people who think they can do something. So I think betting against that in terms of the default being like, oh, this will never work. It's like, you gotta be careful with that being the default. So
Yeah, definitely shouldn't be, because that's how leaps in terms of improvements happen, right? Like ignorance is a blessing when you try to build something.
yeah,
Because if you don't know and just don't know it's not possible, and then you just do it because you really hustle and then make it work.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, totally. Cliff Walker, super sticker. I forgot about super stickers. I guess you can do these too. Shit, yeah, pair characters. I don't know how these fucking things work, but thanks, dog. Appreciate that. Let's see, what else have I got? We talked so this is stuff from Gristle Crew notes, and I think some of the stuff is pretty cool. These founders podcasts are really good, and for Daniel, for you, as long as you're okay with listening to podcasts, there's this founders one is excellent. There's a bunch of different episodes and all these different founders, and every time I listen to them, I get all fired up. I listen to Jeff Bezos' letters to shareholders, but I mean, you can listen to the guy who started Glock, the guy who, the girl who did Anna Winter, who is the Devil Wears Prada lady.
Name of the podcast? Sorry.
Founders, and the guy's name is
Founders.
David Sendra. David Senra is the host. Founders.
And there's so many interesting podcasts. Like I've been listening a lot to Acquired, actually.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Acquired did a co-host podcast with these guys, or with David Senra. So
Nice.
in the same vein, but it's just cool because I think all of us are trying to start something or trying to run something, and it's super cool to see. The ones I'm always most interested in are the where the founder just had to do a ton of hard work. Like when they talk about the founder and they're a genius, and it's like, oh yeah, Bill Gates. Like, not to take anything away from Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, those guys did a ton of work, but those guys just are fucking smarter than I am. Like, I'm not going to catch up to that shit. And so to model like my path to success on being someone I'm not is like, that's a fucking waste of time. But I can certainly work as hard as anyone on the planet. And so those people are just like, yeah, I just throw work at it until it succumbs. Like, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, man. I think that's how we do it as well, right? Like with this whole like bear market survival mode.
Yeah.
We spend so much time brainstorming, figuring things out, working with like, of course, the Helium Foundation and working with other projects, trying to make it work. And we're not giving up. That's what I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's like
you just keep
I
going.
can eat ramen, but instant noodles, but I'm not giving up.
Yeah, dude, I had not sardines. What are the salty one? Anchovies. A buddy of mine brought over some anchovies. I've never had a tin of anchovies before. I ate those things. It was like eating a fucking like 6-pack of salt.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I felt like I shouldn't have done it after I swallowed the last one. I was like, Jesus, I need like a gallon of water.
Yeah, it's a gallon of water. That's exactly.
It's one of my favorite backpacking foods, though. You throw that on some like, dry tortellini or something like that, and you're ready to rip.
I can see that, but then you got the can. Like those cans fucking stink.
The cans suck. Yeah. So you need some. I usually try to like wash it out or something like that. But
they're gonna get fucking eaten by a bear just because you ate anchovies.
Yeah, covered in anchovy smell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else did I have? We did the metrics. I saw, IoTeX is talking about liquid staking dApps. I think that like that goes back to this idea that the market's turning. Like all these people are announcing what they've been working on, what they've been building. Those things are coming out, whether that's DePIN Hub, whether that's new stuff for Helium. It's like all of the building phase is certainly not behind us, but we're starting to see like the fruits of those pop up. So
yeah, everyone I'm talking to in the space, I've probably got my Twitter feed trained really well to ignore all of the like trader talk and more of the people building stuff. But boy, are people building. It's really cool to see new partnerships coming out all the time, like new features, new, interconnects between projects. Like everyone's kind of like supporting each other and then like building stuff up at the same time.
Yeah. No, it's pretty cool. And I think, the crazy thing to me is seeing for the first time the other night when I was circling back to the beginning of the convo, that ChatGPT, I was like, dude, I'm not sure that I could build a DePIN project, but I think we're pretty close. And if I wanted to work really hard on it, I could probably build a DePIN tool that helped people with radio, whatever, just using ChatGPT. Where it's like, hey, this is the equations that I want to put in. Here's like, show me how to interact with this fucking API. Right. And as long as like you barely know how to answer or how to ask the first part of the question, and you can always ask ChatGPT, like what question, like what do I need to know in order to do this? I'm like, oh, you need to know this, this, and this. So just like copy it, write it down. Like, all right, well, tell me about point one.
Yeah, it's a great tool to learn
about it.
Yeah.
Well, because it'll explain its thinking to you, and it gives you an opportunity to say like, does that make sense? Like, given what I do know.
Yeah.
And so like that little bit of coding understanding, at least like carries you through the process.
Yeah.
So yeah, very powerful way to learn.
Fuck crazy. What were you saying, Daniel?
No, I got distracted with Liz's message. I want to come to that coffee shop and have some pizza.
Come to Bika. Yeah. Man.
I can't go to the US until I think March next year because my Italian passport expired.
Okay.
And it took a year to make an appointment for the Portuguese. They're just lazy people. Sorry, for the Italians, right? But anyway, I definitely want to come next year for sure.
Yeah, come on by. It's a short walk from the
easy.
Yep. Dude, I told you, remember when you came out here and we went up to that hotspot that I had that was on that super steep hill?
Yeah.
Did you see that video of me pulling those things off? That was like the most fun and the fucking hardest I've worked for a while.
Fuck. No, I didn't see how it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, yeah. So I went up there
and
they're both on the same hill. They're, I don't know how far apart they are. 600 meters or something on either side of the hex. And neither of them were working. One modem went down and the other something was going on with, I don't know, the Pi. I was like, all right, I'll pull both these out and I'll figure out what to do with them, or I'll refurbish them, or I'll use them for something else. And I thought I brought all the tools I needed to break down an off-grid hotspot, like a crescent wrench, like some simple stuff, but it's been so long since I fucked with off-grids. I forgot a couple tools and it turned out like I couldn't break down the whole thing. So all I could do is pull them out of the ground, and I had 2 hotspots on their stands with solar panels, everything. I think I got the solar panel off one of them, and I was carrying them both down that hill, and it was so fucking difficult. Like I got to the bottom and I was driving home and I wanted to throw up, like physically vomit, because I'd worked so fucking hard.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was so out of shape when I went there, right? Because it was
right.
Like fundraising time.
Yeah.
We're like fundraising for months and just like sitting in the computer every day without doing anything else. I managed to make it, but I almost died also on the way up without the hotspots. I think now it'll be a little bit better.
Yeah.
I've been like trying to like work out a little bit more and get a little bit better in that sense. But yeah, that time was horrible.
Yeah.
But still nice.
Yeah,
I almost died, but
fun.
it was worth it.
Yeah.
My next call is actually with a company building off-grid systems for hotspots, or really for anything else. So I may have to come down there. I'll help you get that thing back up on the mountain.
Yeah, shit, yeah. I got places for it. The guy that owns the land is super cool. I told him I was tracking paragliders with it, which is I was using it for that. So he's like, yeah, do whatever you want. This sounds awesome.
Cool. I'm going to talk about that in like 4 minutes here then.
Cool. Super cool. What was I going to say? Oh, on the next crew call, we're going to be talking about getting government grants. I've talked about the VO2 mask thing before. So I think I'm just going to be a lot more public and kind of pushy about, hey, if you want in on the private conversations, join the Gristle crew. It's pretty cheap. I think you end up paying like $25 a week for the thing. It's $100 a month. You probably get a discount if I launch this affiliate thing. If you don't, whatever. If you don't like it, don't do it. But I think like the insider track to all the stuff I'm doing is there. Links should be down in the description. So sign up for that. And Yeah, there's super cool stuff coming down the pipe, especially these government grants. Like there's a lot of money floating around. If you know how to get it, makes your life a lot better. So super cool.
Okay.
All right, fellas, anything else you want to hit before we sign off? I know, Joe, you got to go on a call anyway.
Oh yeah, always on a call. But...
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Stop.
that should be our like Twitter handle.
Oh,
No,
Yeah.
hope to be here next week as well. That was fun. I missed it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Fucking A,
good to
guys.
see you on here.
Yeah. Super
And
good.
yeah, happy Turkey Day. Hope
That's
it,
right.
oh,
Ooh,
got
lasers.
trained.
Love it. I got to figure out how to do that for this thing.
Right. How does this go?
Reactions.
Is it on?
Sorry.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
you
it
go.
is.
Oh, no shit. Wow. Does that work for everything or just for you? Do I do?
It's
Yeah,
an
you gotta
Apple
update
thing.
your Mac.
Oh,
It's,
fucking
yeah.
total bullshit.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you
Here we
guys
go.
next
We'll-
week. Oh,
We're gonna
fucking
close
bye-bye.
out with some balloons. Here we
See
go.
you guys later.